everybody, and welcome to this interview. Today I'm joined by another guest, so please give a virtual warm welcome to Vivi, who runs the Adventure Your World YouTube channel. Hello, Vivi.
Hi, Zach. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much for being on this. Well, I guess it's a show, so thank you so much.
Super excited.
Is this your first time being interviewed, or?
I think I have been on a few podcasts, but not on video, so it's...
Oh, there you go. First video interview. That's exciting. So let's get stuck into things. Let's find out a bit about who you are. So tell us a bit about yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
Awesome. So I'm Vivi. It's kind of hard to define actually who I am or what I do, but I kind of travel around the world, just going wherever the world takes me, just following it step by step, flow by flow, whatever comes up next, and enjoying every step of it. And I have a YouTube channel, as you already said. I create some videos. I help people just improve their relationship and live a more adventurous life, like just crafting a life that really takes your breath away. That's what, I think is a cool thing, and that's what I do pretty much.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that interlinks well to the next line of the question is really, so what would you say your sort of big ambition and dream is? What are you sort of ultimately working towards?
Yeah, so my big ambition really is to help people craft a life that takes their breath away. Get them out of the life that's like routine, we're just like doing the same thing over and over again, not really enjoying your life, waiting for retirement, and then just like, cool, when I'm like 65 or 70 or whatever, I'm gonna actually start enjoying my life. And when I have caught up with all the things that I need to do, that is when I'm living the life that I want to live. Like, no, don't do that. Like, you might be dead by then. Start living the life that you really want to live right now and enjoy every step of it. And that's my goal and ambition, that really more people stop following this flow of trying to catch up with life and with all the things that society tells them they need to do, and really step into the person that they actually are and living the life of their dreams.
That's brilliant. That's such an impact you'll have over people. That's a really lovely ambition to have. And so that's a good opportunity to tell the people who are watching this to, of course, please check out your channel. The links to that are in the description below. So please, of course, check you out if you want a better life, and who doesn't want one of those? So, so please do that. No, that's brilliant, because as you said, like, people get stuck into sort of the mainstream life that society sort of dictates to you. And it's the saddest thing. It's like you said, when people retire, then they think, now I can enjoy. Your whole life's gone pretty much. That's ridiculous. And that's good if you can inspire people to sort of take action earlier and not let that happen to them. You're going to change a lot of lives like that.
Yeah, the problem is they don't realize that, time is the most precious thing that we have. We don't realize because it's given for free. But we can't save it, or we can't use it when we have a better use of it. And it's just gone. Like, if we waste it, or if we're not using it properly, it's just gone. And we can never ever like recreate it or get it back. And when you're 70, it's just not the same as when you're 20, 30, or 40. Like, you don't have the same abilities, and maybe you can't do all the things that you want to do. I mean, some people can, but most of us like won't be able to do it.
Yeah, that's so true. And then you end up in the worst situation where you've got regrets and you can't really do anything about it. That's the saddest sort of fate.
Yeah, that's the worst. Like, living a life full of regrets, it's like, and when you ask people that are like at the end of their life, they are full of regrets. Like, so many people die with like all these regrets, and like, why didn't you do anything about it?
Yeah, that is awful. So let's hope we can avoid that. People who are watching, you've got to avoid that.
Yeah.
That's not a good one to have. Well, that's great. You can be an inspiration for people, and they can look at you and say, yes, do it like Vivi and live life to the full. So that's good. That's great. So you, as you said, you've done quite a bit of traveling. You are a well-traveled person. You haven't just adventured your world, you've adventured the world. So where are some of your sort of favorite places you've been to?
Yeah, definitely. So that's a really hard question. But one of my favorite places is Jordan. Have you ever been?
No, I haven't, but I'm sure that's quite an interesting place.
It's magical, like especially when you go to Petra. It's one of the 7 world wonders. they do the thing where they light up the path. Like you go down a canyon and it's lit up with candles in the night.
Wow.
And then you come to like what they call the treasure house, and it's lit up with candles as well, and it's just magical. And someone starts playing traditional music, and you're like, in which fairy tale am I? Like this is like out of the world. So incredible. This whole place, like you need like 2 or 3 days to actually explore and discover it. There's so much to see. It's so beautiful. The culture is totally different. The food is so good. And then another one of my favorite places in the whole world is Vietnam. Have you ever been?
I haven't. I'm not as well traveled, but yes, I've heard a lot about Vietnam, that it is very nice.
Put it on your list and try to make it as soon as you can. Like,
Got my list. I'll get a pen. I'll get a pen. Okay.
no, literally, it's out of this world. Like the people are so nice. It's not overrun by tourists as of now. Food is really good, and I'm not really a foodie, you know. So like if I say that, like it really does mean something.
Good recommendation, yeah. So
Yeah.
Vietnam and Jordan, there's some pretty interesting places. Yeah, well, that's good. I'll add it to the list. And I'm not especially well travelled at the moment, but the main country I've been to is Italy.
Okay.
Have you ever been to Italy? Yeah.
Yeah. It's really nice.
Venice?
Culture is
Venice?
beautiful. People are great.
Yeah, brilliant there. Venice at all?
Yes. Well, that's kind of overrun by tourists right now. But
Very touristy.
it is a beautiful place, though.
It is. But it is completely rammed with tourists, I would agree. It is. And everything's so expensive as a result. It's just like really expensive to do anything in Venice. It's just like, but yeah, amazing place to visit. At least we can share somewhere we have been. I've probably got like 100 places to catch you up on. But
That's okay. But you know, like Venice and these places are the reason I believe people say it's like too expensive to travel. Like you hear about Italy and you're like, oh, Venice, like I don't have the money to like actually go there and enjoy my life. Like no, there's so many other places where you can live for like less than half the money and really enjoy your experience as well. Like you don't need to spend like thousands of dollars for your holiday.
yeah, that's the smart thing, isn't it? That you don't have to just go to the majorly touristy bits. And as you said, travel does come a lot cheaper than you think if you really want to do it. And that's good. So, you got any more exciting trips planned?
So I'm actually going on a cruise in a few days to Brazil, and
Really?
then staying in Brazil for a little bit, and then spending winter in Canada. And then I'm not sure, probably going back to Asia or to Colombia, but it's still like up in the air.
That's exciting. So, cruise to Brazil and winter in Canada is going to be quite hardcore. Normally, people want to get away from Canada in the winter.
I know, I'm the same kind of person. Like, I just want to spend my life in sun and summer, but this opportunity came up. I'm like, okay, it's kind of an experience. It's kind of an adventure. I'm gonna have like a car and like a nice house to live in. So let's see where it takes me and if it's gonna be a good idea or not.
Yeah, well, I wish you luck. That'll be definitely a difference from the sun. So don't forget your snowplow. Yeah, that'll be good. So let me just consult my list of many questions. So, oh yeah, that was one thing about travel wanted to ask you. To me, you've got an accent. I'm wondering where you're originally from. I'm curious.
Okay, so my accent actually depends on where I'm living it in the moment. It really changes. I'm originally from Germany, but if I live in like Mexico or Chile or Spain for a longer time, it starts changing. I lived in the US for a long time, so it always like kind of like goes with the flow of the place where I am.
I couldn't place it when I was watching through your videos. I thought, what is your accent? It's nice, but I can't say, oh yes, you're from there. That's interesting, coming from Germany, because I'm actually quarter German, quarter Deutsch. So,
Any German?
no, because my mum is half German, and she didn't actually learn it from her parents, because at the time when they were growing up, the whole German thing wasn't very clever at the time, so they didn't really adopt the language. But I would potentially like to learn. When I'm in Italy, I always get mistaken. They always assume they speak to me in German first, so they always assume I'm German. They just do. I suppose they wouldn't speak to me in Italian, but they never assume I'm English. But hey, there's some trivia for everybody. So
That's That's true. And you look quite tall. Like Germans are, like a lot of Germans are quite tall as well. So you totally
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Got the Deutsch tall look. Well, thank you. Right, let's see where we're going next. So, right. So you are a believer and a practitioner, sorry to label you, in the law of attraction. So I'm just wondering, what is the significance of that been for you?
So I actually believe when we kind of believe in it and actually make it work for us, because, you know, we know a lot of people that kind of believe in it, but it hasn't really worked for them yet. We're really able to create the life that we want without holding back. Like not just the person we were like born into and what our parents and our family and society wants us to be, but actually like living the life and creating the life that we really want to live in. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really good thing, because like when you look at other places in the world, it's like you're born into this position and that's just who you are. But you're not actually able to grow into something different. Yeah. But if you believe in the law of attraction, like you can attract anything and everything to your life.
That's brilliant, because I've been interested in the law of attraction. I've tried to get better at it. I'm sometimes, it's like what you say that you need to focus on what you want, what you don't want, instead of what you don't want to happen. And that's good, because it gets rid of any complaining. And but that's my right to complain. I feel I've done out of my complaining. So, but it's for a positive go though. But I am trying to get better at it and sort of attract things. And but hey, this interview is positive, so we've attracted this.
That is true. And the whole thing about the law of attraction is like not just about thinking it positively, but also like really feeling it. And once we like really integrate the feeling and let go of really wanting it, that is when it's actually coming. As you know, like a magnet, when like you're having the opposite pole, it's actually like you're trying to chase it and it's going away. So when you like know it's coming and you detach from like, okay, it has to happen now, it has to happen now, that's actually when it starts happening. And most of the time it happens and it's totally unexpected. You're like, oh right, I actually forgot about this, and now it's like totally normal. And that's the cool thing about it.
Yes, that's so true, because if you just think about it in a positive way, then it will just suddenly unfold and happen without you sort of dwelling on the negative. That's a great way of looking at things. So let's consult the next bit of the questions. So yes, you make a lot of videos around love and relationships. I was interested to know what your sort of definition of a soulmate is.
That's a good question. So my definition of a soulmate is a person where you can be your true self without pretending to be someone else, without trying to, you know, be good enough for them or doing things just to make them happy. And while this person and obviously you have the highest interest for each other in mind.
That's great. So, so being
creating a space, you know, a safe space where you can both be your true self and where you can both grow without judgment or without holding back.
That's lovely, and that's something that a lot of people sadly don't ever get, that environment. But it's sort of being like a true friend, really, the freedom to be yourself, like you said, and that's where you can really get the best out of a relationship, with the freedom, and it just would make you a happier person when you don't have to be pretending something that you're not.
Exactly. And so many people are in relationships trying to be, you know, someone they are not, or trying to make it work somehow, or trying to overlook all the bad things about the relationship and just like going by it somehow, but not actually being happy in the relationship. And it's so sad, because if you look at like how many people get divorced and how many people actually live in unhappy relationships, it's like, where are we? Like, what's going on? Like, wake up, like do something about it.
Yeah, yes, wake up, people, sort it out. Because there's such a great thing you could have out of a relationship if you get it right. And obviously easier said than done, but it's recognizing what it really means, and I do think people lose sight of that.
Yeah. And we get so used to it, you know, like we find someone, you're like, okay, cool, this is fine for now. Like I just don't want to be alone. This person kind of gives me what I need right now. And then we get used to it, and then we get stuck in it, and then we're like, well, we've been together for a year or 5 years or 10 years, like be kind of like uncomfortable to move out of this now and like start all over again. So let's just keep it as it is. And this is like where we're stuck.
Yeah, and you never get a fulfilling relationship out of that. That's sort of just being, it sounds awful to say, but it's almost like being with someone for convenience. It's like
Yeah.
dreadful.
Hmm.
It is, but that's true. I often think because on my channel, I've set myself six big goals to achieve, and one of those is to find proper love. And this has been taking a while, but in the process of that, obviously, I've been a little bit impatient. But then I came to the conclusion that there's sort of no shortcut to happiness. The only way to get, you can't force a relationship. It's either right or it isn't. And I think a lot of people do get into these relationships really when they shouldn't, and they're just trying to, like fulfill things within themselves, but not completely get it right. If I can explain what I'm saying properly.
Definitely, definitely. And what you say with the convenience, that's so true. Like we're wired for convenience, like Netflix, Amazon Prime, like get it today, do it now, like just chill on your sofa. Everything is wired for convenience and being comfy. The same happens with our relationships. Like we don't want to put the work in. We just want the perfect guy to come or the perfect girl to come and just, create a happy world. And it just doesn't work like that. And most people don't realize it. Or they're not
Mm.
actually in a position where they're like, oh, okay, I actually got to do something about it as well. And this is why it's not happening for most people.
That's so true, and I like to maintain that there's sort of no shortcuts to happiness in that respect, and that you're better off sort of being on your own actually, rather than getting in the wrong relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's tough. That's tough to accept that.
It is tough to accept, but when we actually take full responsibility for ourselves and for our life, then we realize what is my main interest here? Like, am I just getting into this relationship because I need someone from that person because I'm not feeling happy on my own and I need this person to make me happy or to make
Yeah.
me feel lovable or, whatever kind of feeling you're looking for? Then it's never going to be a good relationship because you're always going to be depending on that. You got to be happy yourself first, and then the happiness of you and the happiness of the other person is going to multiply, and you're going to create something magical. But if you depend on someone, it's just not going to happen.
That's so true, because I watched that in one of your videos where you basically said that before you have a good relationship, you have to fix yourself first. And I fully agree with that. And because if you're putting your sort of self-worth and happiness in as the responsibility of someone else, you become sort of very vulnerable. And, because if they leave you, suddenly they take your happiness with you, which is not good.
Exactly.
Um, so that's one of those things. But I found that as well, because I looked at all the reasons that I wanted a relationship, and if I looked at them honestly, and a lot of them were just insecurities to make me feel better, and it was completely wrong. And I eventually came to the conclusion that a relationship isn't there to sort of make you happy or complete you. It's there simply to sort of complement you as a person, if that makes sense.
Totally. That's exactly the thing. That's what most people get wrong. And that's the
Mm,
whole problem in the whole relationship thing. Like if you look at most relationships, that's exactly sorry, what they're doing. Like they're looking for like, oh, I need someone to make me more secure, or I need someone
yeah,
to get this or that from them. And this is not how we create happy, long-lasting relationships. That's why
agreed. Sorry.
no. That's why most relationships are so unstable these days.
Yeah, they have the complete wrong foundations, and but when you actually can realize that for yourself, you can see your insecurities for what they are, and it just doesn't make sense, and it's unreasonable to expect somebody else to mend that within you. And once you get to that point, it's quite exciting. Once I recognised that, I felt a lot better in moving forwards, and it's going to build for a much healthier end result. So moving on, we're also going to stay on the topic of love. So how would you sort of advise people to go about finding their true love? Difficult question, I know.
It's a very difficult question, but the only thing is, as you already said, is like fix yourself and work on yourself. Like we're all expecting to have this like Supergirl or Superman like knock on our door and just be like Prince Charming and say like, "Hey, here I am. Are you ready?" And this is not how it's gonna happen. Like we're expecting the perfect partner, but like, are you the perfect match for the perfect partner? And most of the time, the answer is no, right? Like we
Yeah,
can't expect something perfect and like us being like who we are. Like it's not bad being who we are, but if we want something high standard, like are you the high standard person to be with that person? You know, like, are you what you're expecting in the person? If you want
Yeah.
someone to be honest, honest, loving, having lots of time for you, like, are you having these qualities within yourself? And if not, like, create them. If you want something from your partner, create it within yourself first, and then you're gonna attract it automatically.
Yeah, that's a really clever way of looking at it. I've not actually thought of it like that, but it is based around what we were saying in that sense, that fixing yourself. But that's interesting. So if you're looking for a certain trait in somebody you desire, you really sort of need to have it within yourself. Because I think people have it the wrong way around. They're like, I will feel more confident when I'm with X, Y, and Z. But if you were more confident in the first place, you'd attract more confident people. That's difficult. That's the harder option, which most people aren't interested in. But it's the only way.
It's the only way, I get so many people like coming to me like, oh, I would love to have a part, like, I would love to travel more, so I need to
Mm.
find a partner who travels more. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. Because in first place, I wouldn't be interested in anyone who's not traveling at all, because it doesn't fit with my lifestyle. And
Yeah.
like, you don't cook and like look and like, oh, could this eventually work out? And like, no, is it working out right now? And can our lifestyle be combined? So if you actually start living the life or being the person who you want to be with, it's much easier to attract the person or to find the person. Like, if you
Mhm.
want a high level person, like, let's say, like, these like people that go to all the super high vibe places, like, okay, like, are you actually going there yourself? If not, like, how are you ever gonna find them? Like, you're living in a parallel universe. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
step into that universe first to find the person that is living in that world.
That's true. I think that's good because a lot of people are a bit sort of borderline delusional about that. And then they get upset and think, oh, well, you only like wealthy people or you only like people who travel. But it depends, as you said, you have to sort of be in a part of that same world. Otherwise, how is it ever going to sort of work? And that's an interesting way of looking at that. And I better get doing all sorts then if I'm going to find the right person. So that's true. Just just on a personal note, I've recently got in touch with a girl I used to know many years ago, and we've started texting each other. And I asked her if she'd like to meet up just for a catch up, and she said she would. But unfortunately, now this is where the law of attraction comes in. I'm trying not to focus on the negativity. It's nearly been a week since she said she'd be happy to see me, and she hasn't replied to me. I don't know. I'm just thinking, trying to get your thoughts on that.
So you can definitely reach out, but don't reach out being in the energy of like, are you sure you don't want to catch up? Like, desperate energy, like being in the energy of like, cool, like, if we want to, like, let's do this. Like, girls really like it when guys actually tell us, like, let's do this, or what about going there, or would Wednesday work for you? Like, we don't like the insecurity of like, does anywhere from here to Christmas work for you? And like, what hour would be the best? And like, where do you want to meet up? And like, all these like variable things, it's just like too much. Like, oh, that's too much effort. Like, I'm gonna reply to it later. And then you like forget about it because so many things happen in your life. You're like, oh, that guy, yeah. Shit, I should have replied, but now it's been a week. Like, should I reply? I kind of feel bad about it. And then you wait it out, and then you see what's gonna happen. And then if he doesn't reply, you're like, okay, he's definitely not interested in me. So like, why should I reply now?
Wow. Thank you for helping me out. This is live sort of help. This is good. I didn't think of it like that actually because it was a bit open-ended. I just sort of said, "What's your schedule like?" And you said that women don't really want that sort of, that I'm giving her too much work when it's my idea, probably.
Yeah, yeah. So like, if you reach out again, just ask her, hey, would Wednesday, or give her to like two options, like, would this or that work for you? And then if she says no and she doesn't really reply back, you're like, okay, she's not interested. But if she says no, like, I really can't make it, but what about this date? Then you see like, okay, like, she's following up, she's trying to make it work, and she's seeing that you also interested, and not just like, oh, let me see if like, if is this a good hookup for tonight or not? Like, do you want to come over and like Netflix and chill or not?
Well, thank you. So honestly, that really has helped me out because it is something that I have been. So I'm sorry to do this in your interview, but this is a good opportunity
No,
for people
that's
to see.
like, no, this is what I'm here for. Like, this is why we do that.
Exactly, it's a good opportunity for people to see just how good and helpful your advice is. So, of course, please do follow your journey on your channel. But yes, you've literally helped somebody live in the moment. That's great, because that's why having other people's perspective is so important, because you sort of get lost in what you're doing and you lose sight. That's very interesting, and I will take your approach on that. I'll give it a little bit longer, and then I'll try and go back with a more specific sort of arrangement rather than you do all the work. Yeah. I didn't realize it was coming across like that.
Oh, it's so hard. Like we do things like we're trying like, okay, I don't want to be too pushy. Like I'm just gonna ask her and then, I'll see what she replies and she'll like come up with something. But like if I have a busy schedule, like trying to look at my calendar and like see like, okay, like how can I make it work? Like when is the best day? You haven't told me like what your life is like right now. Like is the weekend best for you or during the week or mornings or evenings? Like do you want to go for dinner or do you just want to go for a coffee or do you want to go to the park? Like, like too many things like, oh, I need to think about it now. Like then you need to think about what is his intention and then we're thinking of the intention that you're having and like it's getting too complicated. We're like, oh no, it's overwhelming.
I need to be more concise and specific. Thank you. You've just mended my mind. Thank you. That's very much appreciated. That's brilliant. That's great. Thank you. So, but getting back to your interview, I am sorry for the sidetrack, but this was interesting. So, let's.
People
Sorry.
well.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So now we've just covered my mistakes. Let's talk about what mistakes do you think people are making in their relationships?
Oh, definitely. The biggest mistake I hear all the time is people complaining and people looking at all the things their partner are doing wrong. Like when you go like girls, like the chit chat, like the girly chit chat, we're like, oh yeah, like he's great, but he always leaves his socks on the floor and he always comes home late and he never does this and he never does that and he wish he would do more of that. Like, okay, what is your part in it? How can you make the situation better? Have you communicated it? Have you talked about it in a nice and positive way? Not blaming it, but saying how it makes you feel. And have you tried to improve the situation? Because there's always two sides. And if you're unhappy with the relationship or it's just a tiny part of it, I'm sure your partner is too. So like, how can you improve the relationship first? The problem is most people want the other person to do something.
Yeah.
It's so hard to make the first step and say, you know what? I want this to work out. I would love you. I want to be with you. Let's do this. Like I'm doing the work that it takes. And they're like, no, I just want the guy to do it. And it's just not working.
That's great, because I think so many people do have conflicts like that, but they sort of lose sight that the relationship, you are on the same side. You are a team. You're not supposed to be me against you. And that's a really healthy approach, because it's all about having good communication as well in the relationship, that you can be honest, express how you feel, and also if somebody's doing something that you're not happy with, can you do anything about it to begin with? That's great. No, that's good. See, you're helping me out and you're saving people from many arguments. You're doing well and giving a great interview.
Thank you. I mean, you still got to apply it. That's like the more difficult part of it, obviously. But once you really start getting into the like taking the full responsibility, like what's my part in it? And it's so hard. Like in my last relationship, I thought I was doing everything right. I'm like, like come on, like I'm doing everything for you. Like what else do you want? No, seriously, like we get so blinded and we're like, yeah, but what I'm doing is right. They're like, okay, take a minute, step back, look at what's actually going on. Where is your part and things going wrong? Where is your energy not right? Like where you're expecting too much or where you're not communicating your expectations or what you want from your partner or with your partner. And there's so many things that go wrong there. And by just looking at like, okay, what can I do differently about it? It's really going to change the energy and the dynamics of the relationship. And when your partner starts seeing that you're trying to improve it, not by blaming him that he's like, the bad person and doing everything wrong, but that you're looking like, okay, what can I do differently or how can I improve? Or even asking your partner, like, what do you need from me? Or how can I support you better? he will start doing the same because he sees how it makes you feel and how it makes him feel and how it's changing the relationship. But one person has to start. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, you're setting up the whole thing for success with that approach, but that is a difficult thing for people to start doing. As you said, it takes practice to sort of implement that, but that is just such a healthy outlook on that. And yeah, I would agree with you. That would just make for a brilliant relationship. And that's the thing. Like, this isn't a relationship thing, but what you say about implement, it still takes practice to implement. I found that with sort of confidence. I had all sort of the answers behind, like any insecurities and why to be confident. And then I, went out in the world and thought, oh, now I know the answers. I'm still not as confident. And then it's practicing the answers. Yeah. It's one of those things, just like the relationship. So thank you for more wisdom. People better get their notebooks out. There's lots of it here.
Confidence is practically actually just compounded courage. So you just got to be like courageous over and over again and just going for it and trying it and doing it again and again. And when you've done it a certain amount of times, this is when you actually start feeling confident about whatever it is.
I'm still trying to do that with interviewing. Now, moving on to the next question. So let's talk about your YouTube channel. You run a channel called Adventure Your World. So please tell us more about that.
So it's kind of started as a project. When you go back to my first video, it's a total terrible video. Like, please don't watch it. And then I just started doing video just to get more confident on camera and talking to people, because I definitely was not at all. I was like, camera, like getting really insecure. Like, I don't even know what to do or how to act or how to speak. And I was just like breaking up my words all the time, like going into like, So it just started off like as me like practicing and just having fun. And then just like seeing whatever people are interested and addressing the topics that I feel people want or need to learn about. And then it's like a library, like you just go and choose whatever you're interested in, and then you want to watch it, cool, go for it. And if not, then like cool as well, go and find someone else that you resonate with more. So it's like a cool thing that I enjoy doing, just expressing myself on camera, and then it's actually just for fun.
That's the main thing. It's got fun about it. And as I have encouraged everybody to please check out your channel with the links in the description. And you do provide a lot of value on your channel. I watched a good amount of your videos before writing your questions, and it was nice to see the progression from some of the older videos to the newer ones. And I'd say you've done a great job of, being good on camera and speaking well and going from there. So yeah, I think you're doing well with your YouTube. You've got a very good sense of branding going on your channel. It's and I love your bio of your channel. I read through that, and it's like all these great things that you offer. And then it's like, if you're interested, who's not going to be interested in a better life? It's like you're offering the secrets of the world. So,
well, it kind of sounds like who's not interested in it, but there's actually people who are like, I'm not interested in doing the work. Like, I prefer to live the life that I'm doing right now, because doing the work, I'm not sure what I'm going to get. So I might just stay at the level that I am because I know what I'm getting here.
Big mistake though, the comfort zone, keeping them down. Yeah. Not good. Big mistake. That's the hardest step, is to accept you need to change something, and take that first step by subbing to you. So, so there it is.
Like, so someone coming into your house and like doing the work for you. It's actually you having to do the work, and most people are not comfortable with that. So yeah, sorry for interrupting you.
Completely. So Vivi, sadly, this is actually the last question now, and don't worry, it's not about me, so that's okay. So what would your advice be to people who are wanting to get into traveling?
So if you want to start traveling, just freaking go for it. Like, book your first ticket to anywhere, like especially if you live in Europe. There's so many freaking cheap flights to pretty much anywhere. Book a flight, go for it. Take like a cheapest, like if you don't want to spend much money, take the cheapest hostel or just the cheapest hotel, whatever. Go for it and explore. Like, go for the unknown and see that it's actually not so dangerous as you believe it is, or so bad or so complicated. And the more you do it, like the more you're gonna get in the habit of it, and the easier it becomes. And then you just like log into whatever Skyscanner or Kiwi.com, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna book my flight. Which one I'm gonna get? Okay, this one, cool. Got I'm gonna go, I'm gonna figure it out as I go, and not just like having to worry about it, because that's what keeps us stuck, right? Worrying too much
Yeah.
about it, thinking about all the bad things that are gonna happen. 90% of the bad things are not gonna happen. So just go for it. Like if you have a dream, if you have a country, a place that you wanted to go to, just make the time, look in your calendar, when can you make it, and just book it and go.
Wow,
And
that's
just take it from there, step by step.
well, there you go. People who are looking to travel, that is good, solid advice there. And that's the thing. It doesn't have to be as expensive and as complicated as people make it. And as you said, it's like you can read a lot of things about, on the internet about places, but until you experience them for yourself, you can't truly know what they're like. And
The best thing
that's
is like going there and just getting lost in a place and like really experiencing the culture. Like you don't have to have figured out all the touristy places that you need to go to and have the perfect itinerary. Where you're like, I'm waking up at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. I have to be there and 12 a.m. I have to be there. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, just go and explore and go with the flow and see where it takes you. And like the best things normally come up in that way.
Yeah, that's true. When you get away from the touristy bits, you can sometimes see the more the true nature of the place, and you get a more sort of authentic experience. So the main tip is explore. Definitely be free in that respect. So that's great. Well, thank you so much for all the value you've added. You've helped me a lot. I'm sure you've helped the audience. And well, Vivi, thank you so much for doing this interview. It's been great to have you. And well, that's it really.
Thank you so much. That's been amazing.
You're most welcome. It's been good fun. So anyway, everybody, explore and travel your world, literally. Thank you so much.